Okay.
Okay, so this is the sefer Zivchei, the web page of Wikipedia page of the Rabbi Ephraim Dov Lap. Ephraim Dov HaKohen Lap, actually, we should say. He was most famous for being the author of my favorite sefer Yerushalmi, Gilayon Ephraim. However, he wrote another sefer called the Zivchei Ephraim, and Zivchei Ephraim is a sefer himself, Bokim, the Agdam of which is historical and extraordinary. It's what can only call knock your socks off history because of what he says in this introduction about the period of the Churban and the Bar Kokhba revolution. He was just the Rav of like a rinky-dink small town in Lithuania, but his writing is extraordinary, and evidently he was well known for his critique of the anti-Zionist rabbis of his time, but that's not what he should be remembered before. He should be remembered for his, and he's not, he's remembered primarily for the Gilayon Ephraim, which I said is extraordinary. And without any further ado, I think we'll launch into his history section here in the Zivchei Ephraim, the Psicha Ketana Serika Kochi. So, Yedua Seatotzos on the Ros Memechoma Shenichomurim Aromaim. It's known the horrible ramifications of the Great War which we fought with the Romans. Rosh Sartz Philseim Titus Ben Eshes Akeser Hespasianus Echriv Es Babesti Pratenus Mikdash Hashem Echriv Yisrael B'Hir Kedusha V'Yotzi Lahor Herek as Michar Bonenu V'Nosenu. So the General Titus, the son of the wife of this Emperor Vespasian, destroyed the base of Mikdash, destroyed Yerushalmi, killed killed our children. How much is that?
1,100,000.
1,100,000 Jews. Were killed during this terrible war from sword and from famine. Shamil's Elef, Ish 900,000, Hochu Shebi Bidam Milchama, they were taken to captivity. That's from Milchama Yudio Yossi Matisio HaKohen. Sefer Vav Tes Gimel, that is the Josephus in Korean Vadim Shvachos. The Gam Rov Bei Chachmei Torah, Koluv Ovni Chamazos. Most the Chachmei Torah were destroyed in this war. The Chol Chavrei Beisin Agodo Shekim Lema Kanoim, organization which is set up by the Zealots. So here, this is the first clue that we're going to see something extraordinary here. The Sanhedrin Yerushalmi was controlled by the Zealots. Sheyashab Eis Yerushalmi, it's saying Yerushalmi Eis HaTzorach at times. But he said Seipelishkas Agazis got together in the chamber of the hewn stone in the base of Mikdash. Naflu Chalom and Mikdash Hashem. They were killed. In the base of Mikdash, Kibochu regularly Sarep and Mikdash Hashem. They chose to be killed and burned in the base of Mikdash. Cover Tachas Musuav, and to be buried underneath those who bore torches against it. Vakesh Chanina, rather than ask clemency, Meisach Zor Hazeh, from this cruel person, Hashir B'chaim, to leave him alive, Lavilim B'shivya, and take them in captivity. Rakhavre Basin Agodo, only the members of the Great Basin, Shahali Lifnea Basin Agodo, which existed before the Great Basin, Shekima Kanoim, Vyasha B'chanios, actually sat in storefronts. So storefront is not literal. That's what it'd be nowadays. But now they sat in parking areas, in temporary locations, like a chanaya. And at times, evidently, it too gathered Lishkas Agazis as a competitor to the basin of the Kanoim. Those who succeeded to flee from the anger of the Zealots, begin the war. They got Yavne and dwelt there. Hashem put into the heart of the great Kohen in Torah. I'm not sure it was actually Kohen, I assume it's being the footnote. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Based in the Sanhedrin Gdola Azos, who was the based on this preceding Sanhedrin, Lazov got moved to Yerushalmi, and he left Yerushalmi Vayivrach Gam Yerushalmi Kishanava Shnei Chodashim Lifnei HaKorban, and he fled Yerushalmi for the year and 2 months before the Korban. Now he's going to bring a famous story of Vespasian. There are tremendous chidushim coming up, tremendous chidushim in history coming up in the Psicha, but about the period of the destruction itself, where the Asar Huge Malchus were killed, when they were killed, what happened at the time of Hadrian, what happened at the time of Bar Kokhba. But in the footnote, still now he has tremendous chidushim. So I can't get everything in one shot, obviously. Okay, so let's go back to footnote number 1 and start from there. Okay. Sifri Bazino, Akosuv V'Amar V'Chai Elokemu. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. I actually ordered the book. I was going to order the hard copies from Hebrew Books, and it's very hard to read. So it's much easier actually on screen. Okay. That's possible. And he said, no, not Chai Elokemo. The Zohar Goyim are going to say, where is our God? Okay, even here, it's hard to read. He dashes responding to Zohar, Elokemo, Zetitus ben Ishto shel Aspasianus. Shenichas beis Kodesh Kodashim. Where's our God when Titus came into the Kodesh Kodashim? Zematil Ma'amoram. This is appropriate with the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, Daf Yud. Hinei kotam b'nesatich b'goyim, she'ei moshivim melech ben melech. The Romans initially did not take kings, the sons of kings. V'titu shemach haraspianus lo yabano. He was not a king. Lo melech ben melech. He was not the son of a king, son of a king. Yosef kram b'sivra milchama Yudiya v'sofrei Romi krim v'titus ben Aspasianus. He was, they call him the son of Vespasian. Chazal are trustworthy. He was only his stepson. So now we should not be astounded. Vespasian was afraid of Titus. That he might rebel against him, as and with the help of his legions, he will start an eastern kingdom, eastern empire. He's going to be the governor of it. He was very happy. And he was very he traveled away from Rome in order to greet him. Domitian, Ben Aishas Aspasianus. So the and I'm not sure why answers a question mark, but evidently there was another Roman emperor, Domitian, who was the brother of Titus, and he was younger than himself, and he also was perhaps the stepson of Vespasian. Okay, be that as it may. Number 2, Yosef b'sifra milchamas haYehudim sefer dal hey mesaper ki kanoim nimnu v'gomru. The zealots decided, they made a basin of 70 elders of their own initiative, not the regular basin. Zechariah ben Baruch, to judge Zechariah ben Baruch, whoever this was. They took 70 respected people, who were office holders Yerushalmi. The basin made them basin. They brought him from the prison in the Beis Hamikdash. In Maseches Talmud Midos, the prison of the Beis Hamikdash is not identified.
Okay, yeah.
And the zealots accused him. That he would start negotiating with the Vespasian. Wanted to give Yerushalmi over his hands. Since there were no witnesses nor other proofs, they also didn't have other proofs. Therefore, they had to find him innocent. Gretz, who was a very famous secularist historian, the Sifro, I don't know what Beishinov stands for. I forget what the name of his book is. I have to look it up. Krach Shlishit, Tzad 47, Be'ora Shniya, Shadina Yorein Tzich Beis Gadol Kim Gam Beis Shel Chavdal Yichlim Ladin. So he says, I understand why they need 70. They only need 23. He wasn't a king or Kohen Gadol. They don't need 70. But he said, proof that Shakanoim Bitlu is based on a Gadol. Unless the Kanoim just nullified the main basin. Whose members were mostly Kohanim Gedolim, Bnei Kohanim Gedolim. It sounds like that for Yana Maseches Tomid, that it was a bait that because the Kohanim were judged, were vetted in front of the Lishkas Agazis, whether they be a coach Kohanim or not. So it seems like a lot of the preoccupation was with Kohanim. Mana basin acher tachta. Then they could put another basin. Okay, fine. Ulam lamu vaz chayim baruch l'mishul's name. No, they basin shochav dimel. First of all, why they have still? Why they bring that basin, and why Lamadnu Mikdash Hashem in Lishkas Agazis? Why would they have to judge him in Lishkas Agazis? Lo Bir Gamhu. He doesn't explain what why. Now Yosef and Sabek Shekshia Kohen Gadol Chanan ben Chanan Hatstoki. Chanan ben Chanan, when he was the Sadducee, when he was the Kohen Gadol, Upachas, and the I guess the local pasha, Yuda Pestus, Mace, and I don't think he was. I don't know if he was Jewish or not. Umemale Makom, and the replacement Alvinus, which does not sound Jewish. Teramba had not yet arrived. Asaf Hanan and Sanhedrin, Hanan gathered a great Sanhedrin both to judge. Es Yaakov Achi Hayadua Minatzras. He judged, his English name is James, the brother of Hayadua Minatzras. Can you guess who that is?
Yeshu.
Yes. Well, the brother of the well-known from Nazareth. And others who they judged, who they accused of being heretics. And they decided they sentenced them to death, to stoning. And with this, Hanan aroused the anger of the zealots of the new religion, I guess, who were the greatest zealots for new religion. And when Alvinus got to Alexandria, some of these zealots traveled to Alexandria, Shama, and they accused Hanan of bringing together the great court, without the license of the court of the government of Rome. Why should Hanan have to bring together the great court to judge commoners? And we also have another great question. Where were they till now that he had to gather them? Like it said in Sanhedrin, they said every day, I explained to myself how this works. Before 40 years before it was destroyed, goes to Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin left the Lishkas and sat in some other temporary area. So they wouldn't judge capital crimes. My time away came the cousin officially wrote them, so they saw the many murderers. They said, we can't judge them. They said, Mutav, let's go from place to place. In order that we shouldn't have to be required to judge murderers. You'll see, you're supposed to do what they tell you from that place. They need to judge capital crime in Lishkas Agazis. When they saw that there was a time when it was necessary for them to come together for a special reason, and they would come to the Lishka and judge there. They wouldn't come back on account of Tzikha. Account of murder. Okay, that's what our Gemara says. But Josephus says they took away from us the authority to judge capital crime. We didn't have it anymore, right? It's not as if it was by choice that we stopped judging it. We didn't have that choice. They were taken away from us. And later on in history, we're not allowed to judge monetary law, which presumably is dine knosos either, right? Not allowed to judge fines. Just go up here. The Gemara shouldn't have said that. Down at this account, they went to the chanus to because they saw many murders, they couldn't judge him. Rather, they sat in the chanus because anyway they couldn't judge capital crimes. And even there weren't a lot of murderers, they still couldn't judge them. But the Gemara is correction. So evidently, the two periods. At one period, 40 years before the Churban, just became too much. But even beforehand, the Romans took away their authority. If I couldn't by right? They didn't take away completely. That's the whole big question about Yeshua himself. Gemara says the Sanhedrin killed him, right? Yet the Christians themselves have a Masorah that says that the Romans killed him. So how do you reconcile the two? So the Romans took away the authority to execute the law. The Sanhedrin could judge what they want, but the sentence had to be carried out by the Romans themselves, not by us. That was way before, 40 years before the Churban. That was because Yeshua was, 70 years before the Churban, right? So I don't know how, I can't read this. I've seen all this, but when it judged it sent the psak for confirmation to the Roman pasha, the Roman governor. He wanted, he confirmed it. He learned about slow. If not, he nullified it. Over or he punished the criminal with some other punishment. Etc. Gosa says they just said forget about it. We can't do anything. It's meaningless, especially because it was a joke anyway, because they couldn't carry out any psak, right? They couldn't execute anybody. So what are we going to do? What's the point? Something from the Sanhedrin. They took away the authority of the Sanhedrin. Gamli says safe. Believe we shall own. So they said, the Romans said, yeah, you know what? We're not letting you come back and consider you at all unless we give you special authorization. So the whole thing became like a sham. Divrei Tesis Shei Beis Mishavas Kushiyas Kushiyasam B'Teisait the Zion base. Shavina Sami Zakim Mamishu Malimas Asoita LeBase and Agodo. Learn from there, from the Aloch and Zakim Madre, Mamre is like Zera Shava. They took the Soita base and Agodo. I really can't read what it says here. Shabes Yosha Blishka Zagazis. Shem Zion base Isur Yochim and Zakai. He seeking Lamai Mamorim. He stopped the bitter waters, but he was only 40 years before the Churban. Yom of Yoshu based in Chanus, right? So what is he stopping? If they can't sit there anyway. Vanimo Sifli show hello, Amalka something. A lady, I forget which queen this is. It says it here, but I can't read it. Hello. Was it a lady Amalka? Some other woman? It was one of the converted queens. I don't think it was a lady. It was some other one. Hasta Tavla shows Zav, Shapasha Saitak Subala. Okay, he should be a man, my Mamorim. Yeah, this is a lady. A lady is Gaira, Balu Shalayim, a base in Agodo, Shabbat Sabimea Kesar Claudius, Kechav Sign Shani is their Churban. So what do you mean? We're you mashkin saitas? Ava pisha basically yashim chanus. So how are they mashkin saitas if the base Nagora wasn't there? Teretz hataisa beside the dachu. Well, if you Brahma now, shekshul tzarach hashoy yoshim lishkas agazis shlo kosher klav. Shemivim saita is also Sanhedrin lishkas agazis. Okay, evidently that was considered for Shalom Bayis a very big thing. The chanam mechanai is not going to go to contagion shoniivnei Churban. You can't go 90 years before the Churban. Basically, Yosha b'chanus. Basically, God was in the chanus. Shrosa chanan lodun din in the fossils. Let's see absacting or believers yom pacha. He did not do it without permission because it's between governors. Because the old one died and the new one hadn't come yet. So Mihail Asov is a basic God will come over chanus. He gathered quickly the basic God from its place in the chanus. Lishkas Adazis. The Donu is Yaakov, Old over das the skila. The Yotzim Mishpatim Lorve Skalum. Okay, they actually stoned them. So basically, Lishkas Gazis. So basically, Lishkas Gazis, Limsar Mishal, the basic Shachal Klain Gado, Chav Gimel, Chav Gimel Loyachal. I guess.
Based until 23.
Yeah, so 23, yeah. Kivach basically Chav Gimel, Loyal Kech Levach Rayas, Lishpot Larog, believe it, Shena Pacha. Nobody's going to do it. There's 23. They're not going to do it without permission. So I guess in order for a basin of 27, 23, which I think is more, in order for a basin of 23 to judge Gina and Foshates, there has to be a basin of 70 sitting in Lishkas Gazis. If there's a basin of 70 sitting in Lishkas Gazis, then the basin of 23 elsewhere can judge Gina and Foshates. But the Hanan felt is not covered, they are not practical. Either I get the 70 to judge, or I'm not going to get 23 to judge. So everybody got the 70 to judge. Okay, so the L'daiti donu a basic halacha. They judged. It was halacha, probably halacha. So that's because a few years ago they discovered James's kever in Yerushalmi. Actually, no, his kever's in Talpiot. Yaakov Mesis. If Yaakov, the brother, was a missionary, Shino Beskila was the judge of Skila. And the normal safeguards we have by Din and Foshos, that it should be, done properly with 80 Masur, etc. We don't have by Mesis.
Right.
Mistama, Gam Acherim Nishpatu Leskila Nishpatu Al Kalacha. We assume the other ones also judge properly. Closes here a base of Godel Azeh as Hamas Karim Agdolim Lashem Asher Lo Afak B'Schus and Yerushalmi Kokach. So I don't know. Maybe they weren't Christian Kanoim. Maybe they're Jewish Kanoim. It sounds like Jewish Kanoim were upset that the basin didn't use proper procedures. Right? That's what it sounds like over here.
Yeah.
We name a Kamachanus Shagos Osama Sanhedrin, the place where these temporary places where the Sanhedrin went. B'Shabbos Tesva Merav Agir Mem Shana and Kol Sanhedrin V'Chulei V'Yashal Chanios. Kosi Rashi Rashon Lamed Hamrav Chanios is some Bayis Yoshushan. They made other areas in Bayis to sit there. Sanhedrin Merav Amrav Kosef Mokon Yerushalmi. Kachshmos Beishan, which is called the parking spot. Nachum Mash Kosef Bezegretz B'Sefer now B'Shima Chafei B'Soba Sefer. Chanios you B'Beis Pagi. It's a Har Mishnah. Beis Pagi was by Har Zaysim. B'Chelek Har. Sheistarel, it starts from Yerushalmi, the part of Mount of Olives, which is on the north side of Yerushalmi. They're outside Beis Pagi. Beis Pagi evidently was next to Yerushalmi. Beis Pagi shochtim Allah b'ifnei atzmo. Within it says that you can within if a person's within Beis Pagi, you can check the Korban Pesach on him. Even as an individual, my time after not play he was a person. There's a prison there, and for the prisoner in Beis Pagi, you can check on him because you can bring him the korban and eat it there. Beis Pagi Makom Chitzon b'Yerushalayim the Ma'alim Pesach. It's an outer location in Yerushalayim where they could take from the Korban Pesach. The Alif name Yerushalayim because it's within the precincts of Yerushalayim. You need a wall. You need the wall. Don't you dash lifnim mechamas Beis Pagi. I don't know. I don't remember what's talking about here, but there. But Perish Rashi Heva Chitza Shishleim, the outer perimeter of Shishleim, Shasifa Leim, something base pagi. Yishulashan Kvi Shasa Shal Ir. It's a place where it means the place where they conquer the city. Kalashono, Chenshen, you have a base Rashi, base pagi, Makal Ifnim Michum Asir, Venidon Kushleim Chol David's Kushleim for all matters. Came Sachim, Samagim on the base, I showed it to the female Chema, Kutzachema, my Kutzachema, it's Kutzachema, Kutza base Pagi, base Pagi, something, Haina Makom Chitzam Yerushalmi, was Arab Yisrael Hasamu, the Kutzachema, base Pagi, Kutzachleimu. So the Chanuyas were outside base Pagi, outside Yerushalmi. Came Perashach Stab Yom Menachas and Ches base, Bashika Sab, something Kutzachema, base Pagi, Haina Kutzachema, Har Bayis. It's not just outside our Bayis, it's outside Shalim. Came to base Pagi Nexha, but I guess it's outside base Pagi. Came to base Pagi Shabu Shalim, but Lusham Yerushalmi Lamav base goes to the edge of Mishra to the Chanus, Michanus Yerushalmi. Says went to Chanus Yerushalmi, Chanus Chanios, Lo Yub Yerushalmi. What do you mean? Why are they not Yerushalmi? Near the Sheni say Chutz Chamas base Pagi. I guess they went to Chanus, they came back to Shalim. Okay. They Bashka Safti evades base Pagi, the next Shabbat Yerushalayim, Hadir Shalim. Ask something Stira Gduyel Zeb Besipri, Akasu Bioshmi Atzeres, Array Shevi as Kodashami base Pagi Yerushalayim, Shemani Yochom Yerushalayim, Yolim base Pagi, Vachule, it's a base Pagi and Yerushalayim, Benin Yerushalayim. Okay, so it's a contradiction. Is a base Pagi inside outside Yerushalayim because it sounds like it's somebody sleeping outside Yerushalayim. V'Yashem is saying that das pesha dam dibi Rashi b'matzia she basically l'shon el hekef chitzon Yerushalayim. Oops. Hekef chitzon Yerushalayim shel stipa lev kriya base Pagi. There's shloshim kefishta. He's a man azar teve in stir cloud. He must isa b'shvuos. Tezayim av abashomesh nei betzoyin. There were two marshes. Yerushalmi Perakon Sanhedrin Beatzi. I said Sanhedrin base. He was over made with soim. Taste Shom. Ayubar Mishka Tachtoy Vel Yoina. Tachtoy Niskach B'Cholel. The bottom pool, let's call it, was sanctified. El Yoina Lo Niskach B'Cholel. Upper pool is not sanctified. El B'Ole Gola. Tachtoy Nishay Sekdusha Gemura. V'Chaber Melchel Shem Kachim Kalim. Mas Shem Chule. It was completely kadosh. El Yosh Lo Sekdusha Gemura. Chaber Enochlim Shem Lo Kachim Kalim Lo Sheni. But they put it inside the wall, even though they make it kadosh. They should turpa Yerushalmi Mitzvah because it was a weak point in Yerushalmi, and it was easy to conquer. Okay, the nitzah from Ma'amar Bashol Divrei Yosef. We can join this words of Josephus. This is the pshat. When the population of Yerushalmi was destroyed, he says evidently at the time of the war, that was in Titus destroyed part of Yerushalayim. They went and they dwelt in the place of the lower pool, and they built their houses and streets. They keep them, they put a wall around it. It had the status of Yerushalayim. Base Pagi, as it's called in the Bavli base Pagi, Chutz Chamasa, who Chutz Chamas base Pagi outside its walls, outside base Pagi. It's called the new city. The lower new city. After this, he also went to the upper pool. So I keep a melch agripas b'chur b'tzura. Oh, so it wasn't time of the Churban. I made a mistake before because it was because of the bad print here. This doesn't say Shenichravu Ochlusim Yerushalayim. It says Shenichrabu Ochlusim Yerushalayim. When the population expanded, okay, then they expanded to the lower pool area, and they built streets, and they called Yerushalayim. It's by Yerushalayim, and that was base Pagi, and outside it was outside Chumas base Pagi. At the time of the Churban, they called Ir Chadash Chadash. And then even later on, when Yerushalayim got even bigger, they dwelt in the place of the upper pool. And Agrippas, who was the last king before the Churban, he put a wall around it because it was the weak point of Yerushalayim. It was easy to conquer from that place. So there are two base pockets, one inside the wall and one outside the wall. It wasn't completely sanctified. And somebody says does not say Yerushalmi. They also call it new city. Shem Kolel. B'tzisa. Hashem shemitchel Yerusham Bitzi. Vichon nikra kein makom abitzel yoina. Mazorim li dibra Yosef. Shekoysim b'shem bitzasa shnikra bovus haseinu. Chel kir shenim and michal shuchal atik b'yavanis b'shem kanipnopolis. V'chadash. Kiras b'tzirta yer chadash. Has nothing to do with it. Tzisa means the marshy place, not the new city. A piece of nearly shachanil so base pagi elyon. Loya nikra b'shem Yerushalayim pishaloya shadino kedin Yerushalayim chanal. Okay, so therefore that was outside Yerushalayim. It was not called Yerushalayim. Okay, we're going to run out of time. I kept you a long time already. So we can stop here, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Maybe we can, if you have time again later this week, I'd like to do more of this before Tisha B'Av, if possible. So let me know.
All right. I'll be in touch.
Okay. Okay, have a great week.
Thank you. You too. Shkach.
Okay, bye.